G'day guys, it's Corin Zenith here. Today we are going to be making a apricot chili chutney. Now basically this is my own recipe, but what I've done is it came from a kind of like a base of a tomato chutney, but I replaced the tomatoes because I didn't have any tomatoes and we had excess apricots. Just replaced the apples with the apricots. Alright, so sorry, tomatoes. I replaced the tomatoes with the apricots. So I'll just go through what is involved and the ingredients. Now, before I get to specifics, chutney is different for everyone. Just the obvious things go without saying. If you don't want the chilies, don't put the chili in. If you don't like apricots, replace it with maybe apple and tomato. And the quantities for all these spices are really up to the individual. But I'll put a little bit of I'll throw out some options out there for you guys, and you can choose whatever ratio you want. Alright, so we have one pear, which is going to be quartered, and an apple, which is going to be quartered as well, and we have some allspice or pimento balls. We have some sweet paprika, we've got some sultanas, and we've got some cumin seeds. We've also got some black peppercorns. We've got some cardamom pods. We have some, I think this one here is coriander seed. We've got ground ginger, and we have mustard seeds, 2 small to medium onions. We have curry powder. We have some extra chili, and I'll show you the real chili in a minute, but there's some extra chili there. We've got apple cider vinegar. The recipe did call for some sugar, but I've opted to go, because there's lots of natural sugar in apricots, I've actually decreased the amount of sugar from 300 grams down to about 100 grams, and I'm using stevia instead, granulated stevia. It's natural, it's not artificial, it's just very low in calories, but is really good for sweetening things. Okay, now this is the hero. These are homegrown, alright? Homegrown chilies, and they are very hot. I don't even know what kind of chili they are, but they are extremely hot. They look like tiny little bell peppers. They are extremely hot, and it's not just the seeds that are hot with these, the skin is equally hot, and the membrane on the inside is probably the hottest part. It's a real firecracker. So anyway, these have all been freshly picked, they've been frozen, and they're just defrosting at the moment. Okay. Oh yes, last but not least, 2 cloves. Alright, they're very strong, and we're only using 2 for this. Now guys, I haven't gone into the specific ratios of all these ingredients because I want to just mention this one thing. I'm going to be using a kitchen aid called the Thermomix. But this recipe can be done on a stovetop, okay? And I'll speak about that later, okay? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get some of the spices ready, and first off we're going to start toasting them. It's got all of our spices here, so just going to give you a rough idea how much all of those spices are in terms of ratios. We have about 1 large teaspoon of cumin seed. Excuse me. We have half a teaspoon of allspice balls. Got about a teaspoon of black pepper balls. Black peppercorns. We've got 1 teaspoon of cardamom pods, 2 teaspoons of coriander seeds, 2 teaspoons of mustard seeds, and 1 teaspoon of ground ginger. Okay, and what we do is this little pan here has been preheated on a low heat, but it's been heating for about 5 minutes. Okay, so we throw them in, and really the key is the key with this is, look, I'm no chef, but what I've heard and what I've seen on cooking shows and whatnot is that really when they say toasted, it's about moving these spices around in a hot pan until they become really flagrant. And you'll know the difference because you give it a smell just when you put them in, and then you're smelling it as you go through the toasting process. So I'd say you do this for about at least a minute to start with, and then see how that fragrance is going. And then go a little bit longer if you need to. But the key is, guys, you can't burn these spices, because that's going to go past the flagrant, and then, you know, into the real pungent, and the burnt flavouring is going to overpower everything else in the chutney. So you just got to be very careful with that. Okay, so I'm going to stir this for about a minute and a half, and see you in a sec, guys. So it's been about a minute and a half, almost 2 minutes, and as you can hear with that, got the mustard seeds are popping away like popcorn, which is awesome, and the fragrance is just divine. It's really come through nice and toasty, and all the aromatics are really being released due to the heat. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put this into our mortar and pestle. I could do this in the Thermomix, but I'm just trying to show you guys ways to do it without, you know, if you don't have that particular device. Now what we do is, oh actually before we start bashing, put roughly 2 teaspoons of salt into the mortar and pestle. Okay, so that's roughly about 2 teaspoons. And then guys, you just start bashing, and you will smell even more fragrance once the cardamom pods are bashed. Oh wow, I can smell that from here. It's fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Wow. Now I'm going to bash this a little bit more off camera, but guys, what you need to remember is this is your, this can be your recipe just as much as I've made it mine. So really, if you like to have, if you like to spread chutney on toast, or put it over a nice medium rare steak or whatever, and you like to see a big cardamom pod sitting there, and you like that burst of fragrance in your mouth and that flavour, then don't bash them up as much. It's really up to you. I'm just doing it my way. What I'm going to do is I like to see my spices, but I'm not going to leave whole cardamom pods there that haven't been cracked open. So I'm going to make that to my consistency, and I will be back in a second. Alright guys, so this is basically the consistency that I've made. Alright guys, now that I've prepared the apple, the pear and the 2 onions, I'm going to put these in the Thermomix. Alright, there we go. And we're going to bung it on for 5 seconds. Speed 6. Alright. And then we'll put them aside after that. Ta-da. Okay guys, now we're on to the apricots, and they're going to be going in here as well. Alright. There we go. They will be going at 5 seconds, speed 5. So guys, remember, if you're just doing this on the stovetop, you'll be, you know, you might cut these up. You'll cut up the apples and the pear and the onions very, very fine, and you'd cut up the tomatoes or the or the apricots fairly fine, depending on how coarse you want them in your chutney, and then you put them on the stovetop. But this is what we're doing for the Thermomix. So basically now guys, this mixture is just going to go right into the stuff we prepared earlier. Alright. And once this is all emptied out, we are then going to get on to the chilies. Hey guys, look, sorry about the mess there. It really doesn't matter with the Thermomix that you've got, you know, residual stuff in there. It's a very powerful machine. And this is going to be cooking everything anyway, so it really doesn't matter. So you get the chilies, put them in there, seeds and all. So we'll pop this on. All right, and we'll do speed 4 for 5 seconds. All right, let's see what it looks like. Pretty chunky. I might just bring that down a little bit more, and we'll get on to the next part. We'll see you soon. Okay guys, basically the chilies are down to that coarse level. We will chop them up a little bit more, but I'll show you how to do that later. Now remember guys, if you're doing this on the stove top, you at this point in time, you're just preparing everything ready for the boil, okay? And here we go. We're just going to add all this in. All right guys, so at this point we add our spices, okay? All right. Oh man, it smells absolutely amazing. Alright guys, now that the spices are in, what we need to do is we need to set the scale on, okay? And we're going to put 200 grams of apple cider vinegar. You can make it thereabouts, doesn't really matter if you're a little bit under or a little bit over. I'm happy with 170 to be honest. That was going to be completely fine for me. But you just do whatever you want guys. To be honest, this is really foolproof, this recipe. No matter which way you make it, as long as you cook it to a nice thick consistency, it's just a delicious chutney. Alright, so in with this, I'm going to put about a teaspoon of curry powder, some nice good quality curry powder. That's about a teaspoon, that's fine. I mean, it's a little bit more, but it doesn't matter. Alright, now we're going to go some extra chili. It's going to be a very hot chutney guys, but that's how I like it. Now guys, what we did was we tar the weight back to 0 and we put in 100 grams of sultanas. Or just over. I love sultanas. And right after that guys, you put in the sugar. Now remember guys, if you're replacing the tomato with apricots, apricots are a lot more sweeter, so you need to take that into consideration if you're going to be adding extra sugar, okay? Alright, so I'm just going to stevia on there. You know what? I might not even get up to 100. And that's how liberal this recipe is. Yeah, I'm not even going to do 100 guys. Today, I'm just going to do 50. No, I know I'm going against the method I spoke about before, but guys, it really doesn't matter. The apricots are very, very, very sweet. Alright, now that that's all in there, put the lid on, and we are going to chop this on speed 4 for about 10 seconds, okay? Alright. Show you what she looks like. She's looking good. Beautiful. Wow, that smell guys is is decent as. Okay, now guys, this is where we get to the cooking part. Alright guys, so if you're doing this on the stove top, you want to bring it to the boil and then you want to reduce it to a simmer, okay, for about 60 minutes. And on the Thermomix though, you're going to be doing 60 minutes as well, okay? And it's going to be at 100 degrees, okay? There we go. And you put it on reverse, so we're not chopping it anymore. It's actually the blades are going backwards. They're not actually chopping in the forward way. When the Thermomix blades go backwards, they only mix. And we do it on speed 2. Alright, the countdown has started guys. So it'll be 60 minutes for me, but it will only be a couple of seconds for you guys. I'll see you soon. Okay guys, well it's been 60 minutes, alright? And this has cooked away nicely, as you can see. I'll show you what it looks like with the lid off in a second. I just have to add something though. I forgot to mention it before. This is really important. If you're using a Thermomix, you can pop this measuring cup sealer just over the top, which will prevent slashes. Or you can also use the basket. People that own Thermomixes will know what I mean. You just place the basket on top of here and that prevents splashes as well. All right, so let's guys, man, I wish you could smell this. It is so good. Oh my gosh, it is so good. Wow. Wow. Let's get a load of that. Wow, this is absolutely insane. Okay, the last part, if you're using a Thermomix, it's kind of the same with the stovetop as well. You put the heat up just a little bit more. It'll still be a simmer for the stovetop, but for the Thermomix, what you do is you place it on Varoma, all right, for 10 more minutes. Okay, that's it. And then you look at the consistency. And with jam, just the same as chutney like this and things like that, the longer you cook it, you will reduce your volume, but you will get a thicker consistency. So keep that in mind if you're doing this in the future or just with this particular recipe as it is. We're going to cook it on high, like I said, Varoma, 10 more minutes, and then we'll check out the consistency. All right, guys, well, the 10 minutes is up. This is boiling hot. As you can see, there's a few little splashes there, but that's okay. Take that off. And at this time, you guys and gals using the stove, you'll definitely be able to see what the consistency is like, because that'll be right in front of you on that simmer for the extra 10 minutes. All right, so there's a fair bit of stuff under here, which I'll definitely get that off. That's a lot of goodness. Check that out. Now, what you want to do is just leave this maybe for 5 minutes, all right? And in that time, sterilize your jars. And the way to sterilize your jars is if you've just got some, glass jars with metal lids. Maybe it's old jam jars, old chutney jars that you've bought from the store or whatever. Give them a nice good clean out. And then basically, after giving them a really good clean out with soapy water, you then rinse them out with hot water a couple of times, and then you fill them up with boiling water. And wear some gloves and stuff while you're doing this. You just let them drain just a little bit, take the water out, and while they're still warm and sterilized, you then pour this liquid in there. But you can do that while you're leaving this for about 10 minutes, okay? And when I come back, we'll be putting this stuff into some jars. Cheers. All right, guys, well, here we are. See if putting some of this into our sterilized jars. Just be very careful, all right? Because obviously this stuff is extremely hot even after it rested. Now don't worry if you get some on the sides, guys. It's just part and parcel, Cooking can sometimes be messy. Alright. Beautiful stuff there, guys. I am being a bit of a grot. Gosh, look at that. Anyway, who cares? It is what it is. Doing this while I'm filming is a little bit awkward as well, so alright, so look at that. Okay guys, so basically we just give this a bit of a clean. Handle it very carefully. Mine's cooled down a little bit, but still be very careful with it. Okay, and what you can do is you can top this up. Alright, just top it up a little bit extra. Alright, there we go. Okay, beautiful. All right, that's perfect. Still sanitized. Put that lid on. It's quite hot. All right, so. All right. This is going to cause a natural vacuum. Okay, and that'll be fine. Okay, so basically what we do now, guys, is we let this sit out room temperature just here. After we've filled up the other jars for about 15 or so minutes, maybe even 20. Heck, you could even do half an hour. Then just plunk them in the fridge. You can even obviously leave this around for a little bit longer. You can put it in your pantry or if you've got a cellar and things like that. So this chili apricot chutney is absolutely amazing. You can put this on anything from toast. You can have it on like a cheese melt. You can have it on crumpets. You can have it on steak. You can have it on whatever you want. What I like to do is I'll have some of this in the fridge. I'll get some rice prepared the day before, put it in the fridge in the morning when I'm getting my meals ready for work. I just get like a tin of tuna or some leftover chicken, big handful of frozen veggies or fresh veggies, throw it in with the rice and the chicken or the tuna, and you put in a couple of tablespoons of this, and when you get to work, you bung it in the microwave, and wow, everyone's commenting on the smell, and everyone's going, what the heck is that? It's amazing. So it's good stuff, guys. So cheers. We'll see you in the kitchen, all right? Enjoy yourselves. Blessings to you and your loved ones, and catch you later.